Hello, and welcome to another episode of Disrupting the Dominoes. That's Disrupting the Dominoes of Violence. I'm Arlene Limas, the CEO of PAVE Prevention, and that's Proactive Anti-Violence Education. And this is another episode. We are super excited about our next guest. I instantly connected with this person and immediately had to be respectful and acknowledge the fact that out-of-box thinker, looking for ways to make things better, looking to do it in different ways if that's what's going to be best. I'm so excited to have this conversation with our next guest, Deb Sica. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Arlene. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, so let's just get to it. Deb, you are the equivalent of what a COO would be to a company to the Alameda County Libraries, correct?
That's right. We're in the East Bay of San Francisco. And my official title is Deputy County Librarian, and that is the COO of the library system.
Okay, so before we get into everything that's happening and what librarians are doing these days, please give me a little bit about your background. And I think you've committed over 30 years of your life to creating a better library experience.
I've been in research and education for a long time, seen several different types of libraries in my career, from law libraries to archives to academic libraries. And I came to public libraries about, now I'm going to say two of those 3 decades. And I never looked back. I had found my home in library land, and I realized the impact that I could have on public libraries. And so my heart fell in love with this type of library, and I plan to retire from this type of library.
I've been impressed with the work that you're trying to do and the change that you're trying to make. I saw an interesting description of the things that you are trying to do or that you've accomplished. And I'll share the quote. It says, Deb Sica has spent the last decades in public libraries working to transform dated, discordant policy into socially just, fully inclusive practice. That's wonderful.
Thank you, Arlene.
It's wonderful. And just what a nice way to describe what you're trying to do. And you just keep swinging the bat and swinging the bat and swinging the bat. So yeah. I feel very fortunate that I have crossed your path, that PAVE has crossed Alameda County Library's paths. And we're going to talk about it throughout this episode, but we're embarking on something groundbreaking, I feel, and super excited about it. So grateful that our paths have crossed. Yeah. So let's get to it and let's start talking about, because I can only speak for myself. I had no idea what libraries and what people who work in the library are up against these days. So if you could just share with our listeners and our viewers a little bit about what does the modern day library look like?
I'm glad it's interesting that you phrased it like not knowing what was going on in libraries. A lot of people are like that. A lot of people that don't come in on a daily or a weekly basis fall to what we call in the library land vocational awe. Oh, the library and all the wonderful childhood memories and all of the free services that help folks. And that's true. We do all of those things. And that's why we all got into this profession and why we all love the work that we do. But we wouldn't be here if we didn't love the work that we do, because it also comes with the fact that we serve the public. And the public in a democracy means a very robust band of folks, how many political differences, many economic differences, many socio-demographic differences. And so any place in society that's a conduit for that type of traffic intersection, and I think we need more of these places in our society, also comes with some ups and downs. And so really, we've seen libraries change after COVID. A lot of there's been escalation in people's frustrations in society. There's been a pandemic of loneliness in society too. And all of those things created a perfect storm we had basically in California 3 years where people didn't socially interact with each other. And so remembering how to come together again is rough around the edges. And so really seeing PAVE and seeing what you all were doing and seeing your approach was aligned with our approach to really have kind, connected librarianship. That's our mission. And so we really want to live that, but for everybody, and start where they're at and be here as a no wrong door for government, really.
Great. I love that vision. If I could ask you also, what is happening in library? What services are being even offered in libraries? Because I had no idea. Okay, let me back up. I learned Mexican folk dance at my library when I was a kid. You know, my namesake is after my mom's best friend who was a librarian.
I love it.
I have this certain picture of what a library does, and that picture is different now. You guys are tasked with administering Narcan. You guys are offering job training. You guys are offering food distribution. Please. This was not happening when I was going to the library.
And I would say we are that same library and more. I also think that you remember what services touched your life personally. So something like traditional ballet folklorico or traditional dance is definitely something that shaped you as a little person. Right. And so I learned how to Bollywood dance in a library, and that was a lot of fun. But I'm also realizing that we have an opioid epidemic. We have people that are in need of support. And so through addiction groups and us circulating the big book and other things that help people through addiction, we also have the opportunity to save somebody's life in a day. And so it seems a little distant if you don't see it every day. But if you see what the needs of the community are and you put it in perspective. So we have Narcan and we have never had to issue it, but we have it as a possibility. And just the fact that we consider ourselves second responders now. So where there's holes in the social safety net, the library has stepped up into those new spaces that you're referring to. And so we truly want to be able to do good in the world. I always tell my wife that when I put my head on the pillow at night, I know I've done good in the world. I don't have any hangups about making somebody's life more challenging. I've done my best that day to provide a service that did good for people. And so really, I think that's the modern mission of a modern librarian, is to really be honest about what we're contending with as a society, know that we're a mirror of that society, and come and rise to the challenges.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. So let's discuss how we came about this, because here we are in Oakland and we are the training partner to make sure that the community responders, the macro responders get into the field and return home safely, and everything that's happening with that training. With the macro responders, we have such success there. Parks and Rec say, hey, can you train our Oakland Park stewards? We train that again. And mostly in the field training, like they know that they are going to a situation. That's what their job description says. And then you spend a half a day with us at one of those trainings and you feel like, man, my librarians, my staff need this training. Share with me some of your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah. It was an eye-opening experience to watch the training. First of all, the staff for the Oakland Park Stewards was phenomenal. I just loved meeting all of them and know that they were community givers just like we were. And I was hearing, as I was sitting there observing, I was hearing some of the same concerns that reflected that concerns that my staff had also said to me over the time during COVID and the time coming out of COVID. And I was just, the parallels just kept compounding. And I realized that we are going out into the field too. We go out and do outreach. We go out into community spaces. We do work in all kinds of different places, not just in our brick and mortar branches. But we're also seeing some of those things in our brick and mortar branches too. And it was just a lot of parallels of public service. And I think not just park stewards or folks in the library, I think educators are seeing similar things. I think across the board, social services or public health or behavioral health people are all trying to find a way to get through these immediate barriers and still do the good work that we all put into the public good. And so it was just resonated to see those amazing shop stewards and what their leadership vision was and how aligned it was with ours. And just an incredibly diverse and robust and authentic and honest group of humans. And I saw how you and your trainers completely wrapped yourself around their needs. And I have a friend that does security in a different way. And she was there. She's on my staff. She's a division director and she works with me. And so she also came to that and she said, Deb, this is everything that we've been trying to find in a training for our staff. I said, all right, let's do it. Let's see where we can go with it. And we're embarking on a 3-year adventure. So I think it's going to be a cultural change for us and how we see things. We're doing deep dive work into how we handle things. And I feel completely comfortable in your hands. And I'm looking forward to getting this really going.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. We believe strongly that if we can work on this little stuff, on this death by 10,000 paper cuts that hit us every day, and we start having conversations around them and talk about those things that appear to be little, that we can really stop the big things from happening. We can really improve culture. By improving culture, we're going to create a safer space. That's really what our goal is. And it starts with little things like being able to use our voice or setting a boundary or those type of things. Being able to express, hey, I'm not comfortable here. I need your support. Those conversations, they seem, wow, who cares? But they're so powerful. And you saw that when we're starting to have those discussions with the Oakland Park stewards who were thrown into something, again, coming out of COVID and dealing with everybody spending more space outside. And that's really what they were tasked to try to corral those things that were happening within the park system there. But we believe we're on to something good. We're so excited that you have, stepped to take this journey with us. And so I'm just going to take a minute to share with our viewers and our listeners about really the groundbreaking program we have put together. So we have embarked on a 3-year program with Alameda County Libraries. We will, in partnership, we will do this together. We will collect data together. We will administer trainings together. And we really look to come out of this 3 years and go, man, everything we believe to be true in this happened. We've improved culture. We are a trauma-informed library and workplace. We are interacting on a different, more productive, and personally, our employees, your employees are feeling better and feeling supported, which I can tell you, you haven't seen your employee experience survey yet, but they are already feeling very supported. So hip hip for you. Yes.
That's the thing that keeps me up at night for sure. So, and that's also the part about the park stewards that I love, to watch them actually to feel supported. And that's a hard thing to do. We have multiple sites and many staff, and to make sure that each of them who go through this journey of public service feel that support definitely from me, and I know from my entire team.
Yeah, I think as humans, we know that people make mistakes, right? And we know that people aren't at their best at certain times. But if there's a process to have a discussion about that, I think everybody feels better. We have someone in our PAVE orbit, a great contributor to us, Dr. Julie Harmon, and she says all the times we need to normalize mistakes and have conversations around intent, right? If we could just impart that in most workplaces, I think we would change a lot.
Arlene, it's interesting you said that because we have a mantra around the library about normalizing mistakes, and it's really, yay, I made a mistake. And just to get people to, because usually when you make a mistake, you're a little downtrodden on yourself and you're upset. And just to immediately say, yay, I made a mistake, and say, okay, yay, I have a learning opportunity. And libraries are a learning culture. We're a culture of education, we're a culture of service, and we're a learning culture. So that should apply to our staff and to our members. And yeah, everything was very much in line with the way it was growing the library and what PAVE's ideologies were around this work. And I've never seen anything come close to the ideology of libraries that has offered for safety in libraries. And so this is really the dogged determination to get this connection between our groups. Yeah.
I think that's an understatement. And now this is one of my questions for you, is you really fought for this. Alameda County's libraries really fought for this training. You were comprehensive in your approach to fund it. You had to even give testimony in front of your council. If you want to share a little bit about that on how you approached it.
We did the process that we needed to do. We put out the call for proposals. We went through all of the proper channels, and you all emerged. We got many different responses in that, but we were really looking for that trauma-informed equity, diversity, and inclusion race forward piece. We know that some of our systems that control behavior in society can have a racist undertow. And we did not want to perpetuate that. We wanted a restorative justice model that was realistic, not one that didn't support the staff, but one where we could actually change society, actually change the environment for our staff. And so that to me was worth every ounce of effort that we put in. And I have to say, I'm here, you're seeing my face, I'm talking to you, but the 10 people that stand shoulder to shoulder with me in making all of this happen, there was multiple agencies involved and many staff that are far more linear thinking than I am, were able to do the planning for it. They all fought for this choose because we have faith in it. We have faith in what we're going to do, and we have faith in our staff, and we've witnessed the transformation. The other thing, Arlene, I'm going to say is your team is incredible as well. And that the reciprocity of response from your crew just speaks volumes to what we're in for in the most positive of ways. And that was really telling too.
Yeah. And your team has been fantastic as well. And I think that's why I'm so excited about this work and the type of conversations and the type of things we're going to be able to show, the data we're going to be able to show in 3 years, because it really has been incredible working with your team. So we embark officially on this journey. We've started already. We've started our assessment process and things like that, which will influence and impact what the curriculum looks like in January through April. We're so excited about that. And we will have you back to have a discussion, I hope, after that. I did have a couple more questions about, I know that you spent some time at the Holocaust Museum in their library. And I'm wondering, could this have been the seed about like how important it is to be a trauma-informed workplace and self-care? Because it is very clear in the request, the proposal request, that this was something really important to you, that taking care of your employees in this way.
First of all, A+ for your research from the librarian. But yes, I did work at the Holocaust Museum. That was a life-changing job. It's actually the positive instigator of why I became a public librarian. And I actually had volunteers that were survivors of the Holocaust, and seeing how they responded to things that I wouldn't necessarily have responded in the same way. For instance, one amazing woman. She was probably 4'9" and 90 pounds soaking wet, but she was the toughest woman I knew in that space. At one time I had gone like this, can you like be quiet? Write it down. Her reaction to that was stark, like she melted and she went to the bathroom and she went and she stood in the bathroom stall. And I was like, oh my gosh, a single movement. What did I do? And everything like that exploratory process, you had to meet people where they're at. So I went into the bathroom and I said, I am so very sorry. I don't know, my hand movement triggered you or it triggered something in your past. I just wanted you to know you're safe here. Come sit down. Let's just take time and be together. And she said, that's what the leader of the camp would do when they were selecting who would go where. Like, you're going there, you're going there. So the intense, I think you're right. And I haven't thought about it in that set, but the intensity of the traumatic impact on her was something I couldn't even imagine. And so that has carried with me through my work and through the intentionality in which we try to create spaces for staff and members. So it was one of those career shifting things. So interesting. You're a good researcher.
Thanks for sharing that. It's so hard to have conversations with people about their workplace leadership because they don't always see those things. They are not always as insightful as you are right now. And acknowledging that people bring things with them to work. Things happen at work that also impact them, but there are things that people bring from the rest of their life into the workplace. That if we could just acknowledge it or have a conversation or let people know that it's okay, that if there was a shooting in their neighborhood, that they might be at 80% today rather than 100.
Yeah, I actually had a staff have that experience and share that experience with us. And maybe I'm a child of a therapist and feelings are valid. And I remember once I was working with a professor I worked at a combined academic public library, and she was training staff on, we were talking about EDI work. And she said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we all wore t-shirts and it had everything that we had gone through to get there that day, or everything that was on our mind. And we were just billboards for the internal dialogue that we were having. And I have never forgotten that. And so I actually just imagine staff having that. They're going through things. Some staff are shy, some are introverted, some are extroverted, some are family focused, some are creative artists, just valuing each of the humans that do good in the work. And they have to want to be here because it is a different space. It is changing. It is evolving. But they're putting good into the world, into the work. And I want to value what they're bringing also, because that's a bunch of skill sets that can be replicated and offered to others. I think authenticity is a huge piece. And I liked the fact that park stewards came with their authentic concerns to the training that I was able to witness. They said it like it was. They called it like they saw it. And my staff will do the same. So I know you guys are ready for it, but our crew will come in a very honest and authentic way. But that's where change starts.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you. We've touched upon it a little bit already, but from our point, as we've been developing the curriculum, we are so excited to work with a group that we affectionately call like the Swiss Army knife, because that's what in our opinion, that's what you librarians, people who work within the library system, have become, these Swiss Army knives. So we're super excited in developing the curriculum. We've been really mindful of that and super excited to get that ready for you guys in January. So I think that we are wrapping up. I just want to share with you, and I hope that this rang on your ears like it did for me, because we were at the same table when this new leadership, Michael Lambert, I think is his name. He's the new leadership for the Public Library Association.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the new president. Yeah.
Yes. And we were having a discussion, and we were both kind of sharing our excitement about the programming and our partnership. And after he had asked some questions, he turned to you and he says, I think what this does, Deb, is I think this shows that you really care about your people.
Gosh, that's interesting. Yeah, he does too. So I respectfully accept that compliment because I'm watching him build a very challenging system as well in San Francisco. And yeah, gosh, I'm almost speechless around that because I really do. I really do want what's best. I know that our staff have been having meetings for their mental health. They've had decompression sessions after incidents happen. We've worked with the therapists to come in and talk to staff and just to make sure that they had what they needed and had the time they needed to process. And I think I watch Michael do that with his staff too, and in a much more intense way, because his incidents are different than ours. He is a major urban library, and their city is trying to navigate the new spaces in a different way than we are. But I do care. I want to know details of my staff's life that they want to share, things that they respect, things that they want to grow to know. But this is the one thing I think that is on everybody's mind. And we're in a good place. This is where I'm seeing the horizon now from COVID, where COVID just seemed like a very long, dark tunnel. Yeah. And then it kept getting longer and longer with a lot of unknowns that popped out at us. And this to me is really the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Deb. I think that as we go through this training over the next 3 years, I think we're going to be able to really show some great data, white paper, research, really show that, hey guys, this worked well for us. Yeah. This is what we're recommending. We see this as a benefit in other workplaces as well. So thank you so much for taking your time today. I look forward to having more conversations as we, develop this relationship more intensely and more deeply. I'm so excited to work with your community, and PAVE is excited to work with your community. Let's continue thinking out of the box on how to create safer spaces. So thank you so much, Deb. I do have one more question because I asked every one of my guests.
All right. It's like after studio. Okay, I'm ready.
I thought maybe I would not ask you, but I changed my mind. I'm going to ask you anyway. Because I know you don't see yourself as someone who's in violence prevention.
Right.
That's not how you would describe
literacy,
yourself.
reading, programming, advocacy, all those things, but not violence prevention.
So I'm not going to pin you into that box, right? Mm-hmm. But you are concerned about creating safer spaces, clearly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you could have a conversation with anyone that you would feel would have an impact on creating safer libraries, and they would be an advocate immediately. They would push a wave their wand.
Do they have to be living?
No.
Oh, okay.
So who would you want to talk to about this?
Nelson Mandela.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
The intensity that he witnessed and his ability to bring people through challenging times in a way that was gentle and kind and a model for the world. That's my man there, Nelson Mandela. Absolutely.
Great. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Deb. This has been another episode of Disrupting the Dominoes. That's Disrupting the Dominoes of Violence. I am Arlene Limas, CEO for PAVE Prevention. If you enjoyed what you heard and what you saw, please subscribe to our channel. And thank you again for joining us.
Thanks all. We'll see you soon.